All right, we just finished up learning about padding, content, and border, and the last missing piece of the full box model experience is margin. And margin is the outside of the box. So let's go look at our cardboard box to kind of just finalize this imagery. So we've learned that the inside content is, in this case, the camera. We also learned that we can put padding in between the camera and the edge of the inside of the box. So it's really important we understand that. We learned that border is literally the box's containment. So that's really easy to understand, I think. And then margin is the thing that is outside. It's the white space that provides us movement, and it's not padding. So a lot of new developers get confused between padding and margin. But I want you, as a new awesome developer, going, this makes sense. I've seen this box before, thinking, aha, border is the thing that separates padding and margin. So margin will always be on the outside of the border. Padding will always be on the inside. That never breaks. That's always the rules. So just keep that in mind, that margin's the outside of the box. So if you ever get confused, try to imagine this image and think, oh yeah, margin's on the outside. So let's go look at our box model overview. And in this case, border radius, we had to show the circle. I'm just going to comment it out. And by the way, there's this really cool thing in CodePen where you can do Control/ or Command/ to auto comment something. So check that out. That's pretty cool. I think you should definitely get used to some of those keyboard shortcuts. But if not, you can, of course, just simply type in those comments. Now I'm going to type in margin. So /* margin /* or */. I'm going to type in margin here and let's see what happens. We're going to do a big old margin like 100 px to see just huge movement. Boom, look at that. So what we've done here is we've adjusted the outside. So this is 100 pixels, 100 pixels, 100 pixels, and 100 pixels pushing downward. So this is really cool because it's giving us that outside edge of the box, just like here on the outside edge of the box, it needs to land somewhere. So margin gives us that white space, that breathing room that we need to start moving our boxes around. Now, guess what? We can actually use margin to do top, bottom, left, or right, just like padding. So we can say margin, top, and let's say we wanted 500 px. Let's see this thing just jump down. Boom. So it's 500 from the top of the page. In this case, we could also do margin left, just to showcase, like we can go 700 px, just really jump across the page. Boom. Now remember, this isn't automatically adjusted. This is 700 pixels, so it's going to follow if we were to make this thing bigger or smaller. That's kind of annoying, right? Well, guess what? Margin has a really cool property value called auto. So check it out. I'm going to type margin auto. And look at this. It looks like it's smack dab in the middle of the page, and that's because it is. It's automatically adjusting the margins on the left and the right. Now, we can put margins on the top and bottom if we wanted. We could come in here and say margin top and say 50 px, for example, and it would listen to us. So that's what's so cool, is that we can use multiple margin values to get different results like what we want. So margin auto is actually, if I move this page, you can see it stays in the middle. That is so cool. And a lot of times we will use margin auto for centering a web page right in the middle of the web page. So you see most web pages you go to are centered. Like if you think about lambdaschool.com, it is centered in the middle of the page. And so we could use margin auto to center this content. It's pretty cool. Okay, so let's go see how this works inside of our web page and how we could start using margin. Well, a good place to start would be card. So card we need some breathing room away from anything else. So we're going to type in margin. Now go ahead and join me in this one. Margin 32px. Add that to card and you can start to see we've got some breathing room here. Then we're going to go to our H1. And our H1, we're going to say margin bottom. We actually don't want any margin. So I'm going to say 0. And so you can see it moved just a tiny bit. It's a tiny bit of margin that we had in there. We're just cleaning it out. And then the P tag, we're going to say margin top 8px and watch what happens. Just very subtle movement here. So what we did here is we're now saying, hey, we don't want to have any margin from our H1 tag. And we're going to take our margin top from our 8 pixels to give us that really clean look that we were looking for to match our design. So if you see over here, you can now see my name and my little blurb are now matching the name and the little blurb that we have where we're going. Now, last but certainly not least, look at all the spacing we have here between our A tags. So I'm going to go down to our links. Now, remember, our links is covered, our div is covering our links tag. So we're not there yet. We're going to actually make a new line and type A for our anchors, open and close curly, margin, and we're just going to type in 8px to give ourselves some breathing room. So now you can see that these just jumped 8 pixels on each side, giving us that look that we're trying to find in our final design. We're getting really close. You can see the only thing that we're kind of lacking now is some ability to center some text, which we'll talk about soon, and layout. And of course, our image is still kind of hanging out here and we want it in the middle. Not to mention the background needs to be fully blue. So there's some CSS pieces we're missing. That's right. We've got some modules coming up with layout. They're going to help us understand